in the darkness, it's the sun cut deep. Photon readings negative. This makes us very interesting. What do you need?
Bess Holiday, an angsty teen and rebellious girl, exploring the woods with her friend and his brother. Within the woods, she sees a cat's tail. She's curious. She goes towards it, realizing too late that this isn't a cat. It pounces onto her as the young brother watches within horror as she's taken deeper and deeper within the woods by its tail, taken somewhere unknown. The friend and brother go searching. They don't find anything though. As they go back, the thing he saw that took her haunts him. The brother's mind has changed. Years later, he is able to confess what he saw to Carol. Carol asks Kris to promise they'll find her. Carol, who never gave up on her daughter. Carol calls upon the police force to search the woods again for something even the police have no idea. They're just told to look for a cat in the woods. Since this is a direct call by Carol, the police chief Asgore is given the task. Asgore doesn't take it seriously though. He brings Kris, thinking he might as well spend some time with Kris, who would never step foot in the woods again, is filled with confidence of his strong dad, that he can keep him safe. He enters the woods as they explore until dawn. As they start to leave, something catches Kris's eyes. Staring back at him, he runs to his dad. In a state of panic, he goes for a wrong turn. Lost within the woods, he runs and runs and runs. Scared, Asgore hears the panic, but it is too late. Kris is taken towards the Gasters. He sees a man. He only seems to speak something that he can't understand. Garbage noise. He walks to Kris, and his soul is extracted. Something that Gas has been searching for. He lets us into the soul. It won't be instant, but Gasters' next experiment can begin. Days later, Kris is found, and Asgore is fired from the force, and Toriel, disgusted at Asgore for losing Kris, divorces him. But Asgore did see something, only for a short amount of time, a tail. While looking for Kris, he reports it to Carol. This allows him into the conspiracy. Carol hides the best help for Kris. They try everything, paint therapy and all the works, but Kris is too scarred. When he tries memories of everything, it's too much to bear. Eventually, but slowly, Kris's movements are slowed, like something else is taking control. At first, he loses how to speak. At first, it's brushed off as teenage angst. Later, his movements become stiffened, and finally, we take control. The parasite we are, Kris feels a new fear for the first time, but the beating of their heart are no longer their own. But before we fully manifest, they grow afraid to tell Carol what happened. Carol, who's been doing her own experiments, has figured out Dark Worlds recently. She tries to see if the Dark World could help. Some way, somehow, they take out the soul. But as that happens, Kris starts to morph into a darkness. They are seen as dead within the Dark World. Quickly, the heart is inserted back in, and how Carol learned. Without the soul, you cannot enter dark.
Monster state critical. Monster soul incompatible. Human needed. New research is in order. Project Omni Darkness. Success. Project Nut. Finished. Project Cage with human soul and parts. New value assigned. Project the Girl. Success. What do you three think?
The Nightmare. The thing known as Eram. A creature we don't know anything on. Eram. Although, I want to mention his original name. Isn't it interesting? A nightmare is formed with bad memories. So, could he be someone's nightmare? You might expect me to say it's Kris's nightmare, but I think he's Des's nightmare, because Kris's nightmares would not be what Eram is. Kris's nightmares are probably not being able to save Des or us. This boss doesn't meet these standards. He mocks Kris, sure, but he doesn't really get on Kris's nerves, and he helps Kris with the armor. But if this is Des's nightmare, it makes sense. Des is seemed to be trapped within somewhere she can't eat, drink, or sleep, so she can't have nightmares per se, leaving Eram with no purpose. That's why he helps. Now why am I mentioning this? Because Eram is an Omni Darkener, a Darkener who isn't restricted between one Dark World, but can move across them because of Gaster. I think Gaster wants something like Rousey and made Eram the nightmare to track us. That's why he's so small. He's meant to not be seen, and why he knows all about the weird route. I'm sure you're believing this is Friend's purpose, to track us and be Gaster's eyes. But think about it. He's fucking shit at hiding. You've seen him every chapter except the first one. If Friend is meant to stalk us, I feel like we wouldn't see him every chapter, and why Eram is our stalker. So, what is Friend's purpose? He's the Light Watcher. We believe he snatched Des, so if he was a Darkener, he couldn't really do. Some of you may have seen Roots, very popular and good theory, and I believe Friend stays in Roots' location, and why we see him in the digital Roots, aka Queen's basement. But I think Roots is where Des is, being held and guarded by this cat, per se. Some think Roots will be a dark world, but I believe Roots is a light world, but one room will be a dark world. The room we saw empty in the digital Roots, as it would have no data to copy. How much scarier would it be if Roots was in the light world, where we are weaker? Now, to talk about our main man, Mr. W.D. Gaster. I want to mention one thing about him, his ties with the devil. He is closely related to the numbers 666 and 66, these being the gnomic numbers, and I think these are chosen deliberately because of what I'm about to mention. Friend is closely believed to have the tail of hell. This was given to him by Gaster, I believe, as an armor or weapon to strengthen Friend and allow his base of operation safe, and then Eram, the nightmare. Although not stated in any Bible verse, Satan is believed to have ties with nightmares to cause fear and temptation, and Eram has already had these ties to tempt Kris into telling him he enjoyed the weird route. But there's more. Eram makes you kill Susie and Rousey in the game, which we can see from Kris's reaction scares him. He flinches. This is fear. Fear he must be forced to kill his friends. And that is the theory. This was like the section 2, you could say, after the second Gaster message I left. That was supposed to be like a Susie thing, but I didn't really see how that related, so that might be its own theory, or I might just scrap it. If you enjoyed the theory, you know, subscribe for more. And that's all I've got to say. So see you in the next one.